What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Realistic Career Mode. It's episode number 9 and it's part 2 of the rebuild today, where as you'll see I've just sold Bobby Reed off camera to the Blades at 1.4 mil. Not a lot of money, but it does get his salary off the books. I'm around 18 mil in the budget and deadline day right around the corner. I still think we'll make at least 1, maybe 2, maybe 3 new signs before the window slams shut. Before we get to the first game, Newcastle away, as we aim to get our first Premier League win this season. Come on, Foxes. Last season, we only won 3 games away from home in the Premier League all season long, which, to be fair, is actually not that bad as what we're a newly promoted side. But it's got to step up for this year, no doubt about that. 2 of our final 3 came. Oh, what a save to Bravka, and El Canoes couldn't control with the goal gaping behind him. But 2 of those 3 came in the final few games against Wolves and our East Midlands derby, Nottingham Forest as well. But yeah, this season I want to double it from 3 to 6. We should always be looking to step things up for a new season, as Isak is through for the opening goal, and that's exactly what we want to do as well. Sometimes I think it's okay not to always be improving. I'm not a believer of the phrase that staying the same is stagnation. Not in every case. In some, sure, but not in every case. But I think for a team like ours with ambitions of going further, we do have to improve year after year, and our away form's got to pick up. Opening game away from home this year, though, probably going to end in a loss. This is a great Newcastle side. As Durasimi is denied, headed back into play and cleared by Reece James. I always find Newcastle such an interesting team in career mode for me. Sometimes they're outside shots for the title, Champions League regulars. Other saves, they really struggle, despite what we've seen in recent years after the takeover. Yes! Sometimes they can be struggling for a top 10 place, but Durasimi with a leveller, 1-1. He's not quite a level of Isak yet, but I think he could be one day. That's a Bob, lovely ball through. Isak again. Ah, what a time, that perfectly to nick it away with Chris Richards. Didn't do so. American brings him down, booking, definitely not a red for sure. Don't know what he's protesting about though, it's clearly a penalty. And the Magpies can get themselves back in front, which they will through the Swede. I can't stop him in Nishis FC. Now don't get me wrong, everyone knows this is a heck of a forward, of course. He's absolutely world class on his day and unplayable, but I haven't had an answer for him this year. This is of the years he's been at Newcastle, such a great forward. This is the year I've struggled against him the most. FC 25 Alexander Isak is at times unplayable. Oh, what a massive tackle, and El Canoe shot blocked and cleared. Yeah, you know, certain players are better in certain FIFAs than others, even if their stats remain, unchanged for the most part. That's Isak for me. He's always been a good striker, even when he was at Sociedad, as Gordon fires in what will be probably the dagger and third for the Magpies. But I think about that, Son for me back in like FIFA 22, 23, I think it was literally unplayable. Even though the years beforehand he was still world class. It was that FIFA where I struggled against him the most. And this year for me, Isak, it's the toughest one I've faced him in. He's unplayable. For all the improvements we made to our defence for this year, to be conceding 5 goals, now it's going to be 6 and a hat-trick for that Swede in our first 2 games. Well, we were the league's lowest scorers last year, but there's a reason why I didn't bring in a new striker. Durasimi, excellent start already this season, 3 goals in 2 games. All of our goals scored by him so far. But defensively, you can see why I was looking to improve. I felt we could see more goals this year. We're definitely on pace to do that from our first 2 games. Really difficult start. Rush to pass through, there it is. And, oh, that's so unlucky. Sometimes you just need a bit of help though, and I definitely didn't get it there, deflecting right back to the forward. I must say as well, speaking of changes in FC, I think this year I've noticed it more than any other. Deflections and 50-50s regularly go back to the forwards, where in previous versions they would actually benefit the defender and more often than not go back into your possession. Not as much this year. 5-1 in our first away day. Do you know what I said this year? I want to win double our away days from last season. We'll be lucky to win even 1 based on this display. Right, let's see if we can get our first win in the following game, or at least do a bit better than our first 2. Can't draw it though. EFL Cup second round. My guys, Millwall away at the Den, going for our first victory of the campaign. Back up side, but let's see how we do. In a weird way, though, it's kind of nice because it goes to show you we've still got a long way to go in this realistic rebuild. Design Fleming hits the crossbar. It'll drop to Duncan Watmore, rolls it back inside. George Hyman's shot blocked and turned behind for a corner. But yeah, 10 years ago, Leicester, like us, that Leicester were in their second year back in the Premier League. They went all the way to win it. Do you think I can do that with this Leicester team this season? With that Newcastle 5-1 loss? Didn't answer that question. A knockout here in the EFL Cup to a second tier side definitely would. I really need a new controller as well. This right trigger is absolutely busted. Sometimes you might notice it when you see after I concede a goal, the quick subs thing flashes up. It's that sensitive. And some of you have been asking me in the comments, why don't you try and change the sensitivity? I have. It's not that. It's on the lowest. It still triggers. It's just broken basically. But I don't mind too much when I'm using a pacey player. And whilst Vardy might not have the pace like he used to, he still can finish. Evergreen, about to turn 39, Jamie Vardy. This is why I haven't bought a backup striker. I don't need one. I've got Jamie Vardy. He'll always bang them in until he's ready to retire, Vardy. He is that kind of finisher, evergreen and still getting it done. I'm going to give him another one-year extension at the end of the season, I think. In the following round, we'll take on Brentford at home. Tough side there. Right, following game, fourth game of the season, third in the Premier League, searching for our first Premier League 3 points this season, and we'll take on Bournemouth at home as we aim to get it. I think our home form last season is the reason why we stayed out. That really good run towards the end of the campaign. So this season, I don't want to stumble out the blocks and wait a while for our first Premier League win. I want to get it as soon as possible and hopefully here. Bournemouth at home, the next one up. Yep, you never want to wait too long to get your first win of the season when you are what is perceived to be a weaker team. Because the longer it goes on, the more you start to think, when's it going to happen? When you put yourself in a hole, well, as we know, at top level, it's going to be hard to climb out of that. Kind of reminds me of Sheffield United. You know, a few years ago, they literally just could not get a win in the Premier League. They went so long without one. And for a long time, they were looking like they might set that infamous points record as Duracimli heads over. They had a great run to end the season, though, despite going down. Did avoid that record, but yeah, the longer it goes on, the more you think it's just never going to happen. And when you're in that mindset, as we know, it's so hard to get out of it. Yeah, 1 point from their opening 10 games is what the Blades had. Actually, twice. Not just the season I was thinking of back in 21, but also... Come across, please. Yep, thank you. But also... Yes, come on. Last season, I didn't realise it was twice in a row. It was last season and in 21 as well. But for Leicester, well, we've got that 1 point from our first 2 games, but hopefully it'll be 4 points after 3. Duracimli again, on fire to start the season off. El Canus does brilliantly well. Vitawu, quick fire double. Oh, great save by Mark Travers. Didn't really keep my composure there. Brilliant start by the Foxes, but we had a lead against Manchester United twice and failed to win that. Can't let this one slip. There's El Canus. Bends one, just wide. 4 after the restart. Still currently leading by 1. Jaden Anthony back from his loan spell. Just about gets away and finds Lewis Cook on the edge of the area. And the Cherries, at the moment, just literally cannot break us down and find a clear opening. Much better defence than what we saw. There we go, we'll add that every day against Newcastle. Much better. And sometimes it's not about doing things differently, it's just about doing things better. Certainly have done in this game. And as El Canus feeds through Duracimli, it's a great first touch. Just about keeps his feet and hits the bar as the Cherries will escape. 33 to play. Can we find that second? Nope, in the end, didn't find a second, but did not need to. The Foxes hold on, our first clean sheet in the league this season and our first win as well. Like I said, you don't want to wait too long till you get your first. I felt we were better than that Newcastle game showed. We certainly showed it on the opening day too, and there it is. First win of the season, and that's what you call a psychological weight lifted off the back. And so, as deadline day is here, look at the deals already, man, and a bit of money in the budget. I think we need a new signing. Yeah, we've not got much in the way of depth, to be fair, so I think we could do with another body in the squad. I would like to bring in Kyle Walker-Peters. I really like KWP. I've always been a big fan. He and James Justin, I think, are quite similar, really. I'd love to bring Leif Davis in, to be honest, but again, I used him when it switched town career mode, so I probably shouldn't. But to be fair, young lad at Southampton, relegated last season, Bailey Rice, I wouldn't mind him really just for cover in that CM area with Michael Golding and our young lad from France, Cellier, out on loan right now. So just for cover, really. Wouldn't be against bringing him in. Let's do so. Yeah, we don't have a great deal of depth at CM, and so in order to make sure we do have some cover if we do get some injuries for Leslie or Skip or Sumare, one or two decent youngsters could be a good fit for us, including this lad from Rangers to 1 year at Southampton and now coming in at Leicester. I might well loan him out in January, but for now, he'll be coming off the bench and starting our cup games. Welcome to the King Power Stadium. Bailey Rice. I don't know too much about him, but seems pretty decent. Again, technically, really good going forward. Very nice dribbling stats and the balance as well. And I'll take it. Again, just for emergency cover, really, but a decent young talent with potential as well. And with 16 million in the budget, I might try and make one final signing, and I'd really like to bring him in. Now, don't get me wrong, we're rebuilding this Leicester team and bringing in young talent, but I'm not averse to signing some players in their late 20s for a bit of leadership, if you will. Players with a lot of experience like this man's had with Arsenal, Everton, and now Fulham as well. He and Calvin Bassey are bros, man. They get on so well in Snapchat FC, and I'd love to bring Iwobi in. I'm a massive fan. He's versatile, great stamina, and technically brilliant too. The only question is, do we have enough money? I think he's going to be slightly out of our price range, unfortunately. Me and Marco Silva have got each other on speed dial, man. The amount of business we've done together over the course of this summer is crazy. I mean, there's a couple of players I could swap though. I mean, Patson Daka's out of contract. He's only worth 4 million, but maybe worth a go. He doesn't play much really. And again, Varney's our backup striker. He played with one. So I think this is the only way I could bring in Iwobi is if Marco Silva wants Patson Daka. 13.5 mil. He wants Mavididi, but that's definitely not going to happen. I don't particularly want to get him Koulibaly or Liberato, who I quite like as well. I could do Harry Souttar. Harry Souttar didn't really play much last season. He's a giant at 6'6". We've also got Ben Nelson, who's come back from loan. Decent young talent as well. That's probably my last option, really. Harry Souttar, plus an extra couple of mil. And we might just have enough money for him, but that's about as much as we could do. No, not going to happen. I haven't got the cash. So not this season. Maybe next season he'll reunite with Calvin Bassey, but not this season. So with that being the case, I think we might just leave it there for deadline day. And, okay, I'm such an idiot. We just had a bid from Al Nasser for Patson Daka. If I would have waited, I possibly could have sold him there and then used the funds we've got plus what we have for Iwobi. Never mind. Yep, you can't always get it right. You are going to make mistakes from time to time, and that's totally okay. That's all part of the human experience. So, on deadline day then, on the back of that signing, see the top deals were just like we saw earlier. Pedri to Man City. My goodness, Luis Diaz is off to Atletico Madrid, and Timber leaves Arsenal for a surprisingly low transfer fee there to RB Leipzig. And now the first month is here. Overdue, I know, but let's send our scouts out. Where, of course, we'll keep one in England as always. And for the new year, I'm only going to do 6-month missions this year as well. I feel like when we do 9, I mean, there's just player after player after player. I think actually limiting it to 6 might be better for us. So last year we were looking for a Vardy successor. We didn't really find one. I'm not against doing that again, looking for another striker. Because last year, I was disappointed with what we found. So with that being the case, let's do it. Let's go for striker again, because last year I was disappointed with the players we got back. Petition for EA to allow you to not have to specify a type again, though. I would much prefer that. As for the other countries, well, I think if we are trying to keep it reasonably realistic, I think we should stay somewhat close to England. To be fair, if we want to go to Scandinavia, Leicester, as we know, have quite a few Scandinavian players over the years and quite a lot of Danish players. Christiansen, Hermansen, Yannick Vestergaard as well. So let's go to Denmark for the next 6 months here. And see if we can find that next. Kasper Schmeichel, of course. Actually, that's not a bad shout, actually. Kasper Schmeichel. Let's see if we can find the next one from Denmark and see if we get an understudy for Hermansen. And as for the final scout, what are we saying, boys? Where are we going? Our last scout. I think we should do one of the new nations. I've said with all the new nations this year, I want to scout them all. And let's go to one we haven't gone to yet. And if we're thinking about, English players with second nationalities, for example, well, this year, give credit to EA for this. Gibraltar are now a scoutable nation, and the Gibraltar national team is just made up of basically English players with Gibraltar as a second nation. So I'm going to go to the Rock of Gibraltar and see if we can find a rock-solid centre-half from the Rock as well. So Gibraltar will be our final nation. So cool they're now in the game as well. So Gibraltar, England, and Denmark looking for that next Kasper Schmeichel. To be fair, not all of their players are dual nationals, but a lot of them are. But even so, Gibraltar are a developing nation in the footballing world, and it's really cool to see as well. They actually drew with Wales last season. Incredible result for them, even if it was just a friendly. Right, let's do maybe 2 or 3 more games, and we've got Brentford back-to-back here, first in the league and then in the cup, so our first game away here in London as we take them on to G-Tech Stadium in the Premier League. Let's get our first away day victory here. Yep, Gibraltar, a developing nation in world football, and having many players with dual nationalities definitely helps in that regard. I've given my thoughts on this many times before, but I am a true believer that if you're a dual nationality player and you've got little chance of representing the country of birth, go and play for your second nationality. Like, don't get me wrong, I can imagine being capped by an England or a France or whatever would be an unbelievable feeling, but it might just be one time at best, and that chance may never come. If you've got a chance to represent a second nation, how amazing would it be to say you ended up one of the most record appearance makers of that country, and you might have once dragged them to a European Championship, for example. That would be truly historic. I mean, every player has different motivations at the end of the day, and if it's their dream to represent their country of birth and, you know, a major nation in world football, then if they want to hold on to that, then fair enough. They shouldn't be begrudged for doing so. Everyone's got different motivations and different dreams, as Brentford almost go in front there. And dreams are what keep us all alive at the end of the day, as we know. So if someone holds out for that one chance of representing, again, England or Germany or France or whatever, fair play. Let them hold on to that thought. But if it was me, I know what I would choose. A possible outside chance at 1 cap for England or over 100 for Gibraltar, for example, and dragging him into a European Championship maybe once. I'd live for that chance. Yeah, everyone's different. Everyone's got different motivations and desires, so... Oh, great save from Anson. Certainly shouldn't begrudge someone for following their dreams. With 27 minutes to go, still tied at 0-0 here. I'll take this though. I'll take this as Hermanson makes another brilliant save. And whilst we might be looking for an understudy from him, from his own country, I think Mads will be staying with us hopefully for the long term. No bids came in for the Golden Glove winner in the summer. Ooh, and I'm glad that's the case. Yep, I'll take that. It's not our first away win in the Premier League yet, but it is our 3rd clean sheet in a row in all competitions and only 1 loss in our first 4 in the league so far. Right, Bees again in the following game. Let's jump into it. This time we're playing host to them, Carabao Cup last 32. Whilst it was nice to get through the last round, and it would be nice to have a run, I'm still not that fussed about it. It's still our 3rd and lowest priority this season. Bees come into the King Power in the last 32 of the Carabao Cup. The Carabao Cup to me is something where I'll pick a lineup based on what round we're in, if that makes sense. So the first round I go into, always, literally always, I'll field a complete backup side. If we get through, then the next round, I might play 1 starter. So for tonight, for example, I've got Hermanson between the sticks, who can't stop the first goal, which is headed in by Jonathan David. But that cross was absolutely delicious. That was like looking like Beckham in his prime there. But, you know, if we were to get through this round, for example, then I might play 2 or 3 starters. I'm not going to bother about it in the early rounds, though, because, again, the board don't care about its competition at all. It's a massive, massive issue for me that EA have got. Why is the Carabao Cup... Oh, finish, Jamie. Why is the Carabao Cup not in the list of objectives? It makes no sense. Are you going to tell me that Newcastle fans would have felt about this year's Carabao Cup win the same as if they were knocked out by Walsall in the first round they entered, for example? I mean, you saw the parade. I think you know the answer. Why does it not count towards the objectives and the board approval rating if you go and win it? It makes no sense. That parade was incredible, wasn't it? It was unbelievable scenes there. And I felt really kind of... I want to block Harry Suter. I felt really... I'm not sure what the word is, but kind of like bittersweet for Alan Shearer because, you know, club legend, of course. And obviously he never won anything with Newcastle, but he came up short in 2 or 3 finals, I think. And... you know, obviously, don't get me wrong, obviously, he was buzzing for the Magpies to get it. You could see the elation in his face when they had one. But he must also have that, even if he wouldn't admit it publicly, there must be that tinge of regret that he wasn't part of the squad. Oh, great save, Mads, that was able to win that major honour and end the trophy drought. I would feel the same about Kane. If Spurs were to win a trophy, I'm sure, I'm almost certain they'll be part of him. Just part of him privately that would think, obviously I'm delighted for the club to have got that trophy, but I wish I was part of that squad still, you know? But anyway, half an hour to go here. It's still 1-1 as things stand, going to penalties. I'll tell you another player who probably has that 4 as well is Mark Noble. Noble, of course, at West Ham. What a ball, and Jonathan David restores Brentford's lead with his second of the night. Mark Noble spent his entire career, apart from I think 1 or 2 loan spells, from West Ham. And, you know, obviously, you know, West Ham aren't a major European club or anything, but they never won anything. A major honour, Mark Noble. Never won a major honour at West Ham. And I can imagine the year after he retired, West Ham won that Conference League. Of course, he's going to be absolutely delighted for the club as a bit of a club legend. You know, he's always going to be buzzing that they won that major European honour. But I'm sure there's a slight tinge of doubt. He thinks, God, I should have stayed one more year, you know, to have got that winner's medal myself too. It's one of those really. But tend to play still down by 1, and as things stand, we won't be winning this major honour with the Foxes this year as things stand going out. As indeed he says, Vardy, go left if you can. I'll time the run perfectly. It is Jamie. It is Wilf. And indeed he says, maybe not. 2 of the OGs linking up. Leicester battle back again. And that is going to do it. Penalties will decide who makes it through to the last 16 in the Carabao Cup. I think I'll end on this as well, because shootouts can take a while, especially with my inability to save. So far a record from penalties in the series though. Played 1, won 1. Can we now make it 2 from 2? I want Liberato, number 5. He was the one who netted the winner against Fulham in our FA Cup shootout last year. Let's see if we can do it again. So it'll be Jamie Vardy to take the first. Of course, scored and assisted in normal time. Evergreen Vardy. I mean, was it ever in doubt, really? He's never going to let you down. He could be 64 and still banging him in. Jonathan David scores 2 in normal time. And also the first from Brentford from the spot. Now, Patson Daka to step up next. I'm not overly confident. He's annoyed I prized him out of a move to Al Nassr, but he still scores and makes it 2-1. Now, can we get a save? Martin Deroon next up for Brentford, denied by Hermansen. And every time I've gone top right, it's gone in. So why mess with a winning formula? Facundo Buonanotte, brought back permanently in the summer, extends it. Well. Mads Hermansen. Oh, can't make the save as Brentford make it 3-2. But so far, every time I've gone top right, it's gone in. So again, why mess with that winning formula? Just get it on target. Oh dear. That was always going to happen. And it's saved, and Miles Harris levels it as we'll go into the 5th. Liberato Casaccio scored the winner against Fulham last year. Can lightning strike twice? I'm changing it up. And it was the right decision as he sends Valder Morrison the wrong way. And that means that Sergei Darder must convert for Brentford. Otherwise, we are through to the last 16. Or would it be sudden death? It is. Oliver Skipp, who I do not feel one bit confident with here. As the ex-Spurs man proves me right. And that means that Magoma can send Brentford through and Leicester out. We battle back twice to force the spot kicks, but I think our progress is going to end here. If there's ever a way for you to lose a shootout, that's the way to do it. Because all you can do is tip your hat and say fair play. That's the level of confidence I aspire to have one day. But you know me, I'll never chip it, man, because I know the keeper will just stand still and claim it. But that'll do it for today's episode of the Realistic Career, guys. Big thank you for watching. Really hope you have enjoyed it. If you have, then please do drop a like. Myself to you all, have a fantastic day. I'll return in the next one with loads more games in the Premier League as sloggy season gets well and truly underway, as we aim to build on a decent start and put a few more wins on the board. Have a great day, much love, and I'll see you for the next episode very soon.